Hey everybody, it is a rare rainy day here in Las Vegas, so I thought I would make a video this afternoon. Now, a lot of my videos lately have been on how the Old Testament heroes were taken out of the real-life stories of the 18th dynasty pharaohs of Egypt. And one of the comparisons I have made is Solomon to Amenhotep III. I have showed you numerous instances where their lives are similar, if not identical. And this book here, 2 Chronicles from the Bible, is very interesting if you look at it from the perspective that Solomon is Amenhotep III, and you can find very exact similarities to their life story. And I just want to talk a little bit about one of the main themes of the life of Solomon and Amenhotep III, and at the end I'm going to talk about a theory and a possible clue here in the Bible. But this verse here, verse 22, and King Solomon passed all the kings of earth in riches and in wisdom. And this does relate to the story of Amenhotep III, and I'm going to tell you why. But what is the main theme of the Solomon story? Well, we can find that in 1 Chronicles, where it says this: I will give him rest from all of his enemies on every side, for his name shall be Solomon, and I will give peace and quiet to Israel in his days. He shall build a house for my name, and he shall be my son, and I will be his father, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom over Israel forever. Now, Solomon is based on the life of Amenhotep III. It says, he shall build a house for my name, and he shall be my son, and I will be his father. Well, who is Amenhotep III's father? Well, it is Thutmose IV, who I believe is the biblical Moses. But with that said, let's get back to 2 Chronicles here. It says, all the kings of earth sought the presence of Solomon to hear his wisdom that God has put in his heart. And this is the exact story of Amenhotep III, and I'm going to show you why all the kings sought his presence. And this is a website that has to do with a documentary called Egypt's Golden Empire, and I watched this last night, and it played out just like the biography of Solomon from the Bible. I will leave the link for that below. But it says, Amenhotep III opts for peace, not war. Amenhotep III corresponds with other rulers through the Amarna Letters. Egypt remains at peace, and Amenhotep III receives gifts and foreign brides in return for sharing his valuable gold reserves. The first newspaper. Amenhotep III orders a major building program to glorify his reign. He starts the first form of newspaper by distributing beetle-shaped stone scarabs carved with the news of his latest achievements. And these Amarna letters, this is what they look like. They were small stone scarabs, I guess. Some of them were shaped like, but this is the language. I believe this is Akkadian, and this was just the cuneiform, international, common language between nations. And what Amenhotep III is, he sent runners. This wasn't Pony Express. This was actually dudes running across the desert, delivering these letters of diplomacy, news from Egypt, what was actually going on. You can imagine back in 1300 BC or so, rulers of nations just wondering, speculating, worrying about what other leaders were doing, what they might be doing. But with these Amarna letters, Amenhotep III established peace throughout the region, and instead of gaining wealth through warfare and pillaging, he got kings to bring him valuables just by these Amarna letters and establishing peace and offering political, deals or whatever. But Amenhotep III definitely got brides this way. His princesses came from the same places that Solomon's did in the Bible. And he was a player. That there is no doubt about it. And Solomon, it said, had 500 brides also. The story of their chase for women is identical also. But let's get back to 2 Chronicles. It says, and Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel 40 years. And if you go to the real history of Amenhotep III, it says that he died well into his well into his 39th year of rule. So those are identical also. But one thing that I found very interesting here, if we're going to relate Solomon and Amenhotep III, and I believe that they are one and the same, it says, "For the king's ships went to Tarshish with the servants of Hiram. Every 3 years once came the ships of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks." So, Amenhotep III was sending out sea voyages in quest of wealth. And back then, you never gave out the origin of where you were going out and gaining your treasure. It says a little earlier here, "And the servants also of Hiram, and the servants of Solomon, which brought gold from Ophir, brought algum trees and precious stones." And nobody has ever pinpointed where Ophir is. So, we have many stories coming from all over the world of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs being found. This story was just on Ancient Origins just last week. It says seafarers from the Levant, the first to set foot in the Americas, and it talks about Egyptian, cuneiform or text being found on the shore of Uruguay, and this is all speculation. This is what was found here. I don't know exactly how it's described. Hieroglyphic, probably, not cuneiform. But it looks very similar to stuff that was found on Oak Island. So whenever people talk about stuff of Egyptian origin being found in the Americas or around the world, I'm not going to dismiss it just because we have this story coming from Solomon that talks about sea voyages and going to some unknown place called Ophir, which has never been pinpointed, and the voyage is taking 3 years to make, and a 3-year voyage is by sea, really anywhere in the world is a possible destination. So I just found that interesting. Were they going to the Americas, Oak Island? They were not giving away where they were going, but it's a possibility. So, well, I just hope you thought this was all interesting. I think I've talked enough. Have a nice day.